In our never-ending quest to review every HD set-top box on the market we can find, or that you can find, we came across the latest iteration of Moxi. I just like saying Moxi. The Moxi 3-tuner HD DVR, and it's, well, what do we call the little, like, satellite unit? There's like the mothership and the satellite.
The Moxi Mate.
The Moxi Mate.
M-A-T-E.
You spent a week with this thing.
Yeah.
The Moxi's been kind of like floating around the periphery for years.
Totally.
This is
10 years now. I've been aware of the company for
Right.
quite a long time. So they're not a new startup.
No, but this is a relatively new box coming from Moxi. You spent a week with it. What did you think of the 3-tuner HD DVR?
It is overall solid, I will say that. It is a good HD DVR. I think one of the biggest items about it is the 3-tuner capability. With a single multi-stream cable card, you can basically record up to 3 HD channels at once. And if you want, you could be watching a fourth show, I guess, that would be recorded while something that's already recorded on the DVR itself. $599 list price. You can get that right now. No monthly fees. Simple setup is, I think, one of the big keys. You literally plug in the Ethernet cable, connect it to your TV. This thing immediately went online, grabbed an update. Well, first you have to create an account on the website, on the Moxi website. And once that's done, one of the nice things about doing that, you put your information about where you live, what your cable provider is, et cetera, on the website. It transferred that information directly to the box. I didn't have to re-enter any of that info, which was really great. Again, upgradable storage, although it's external. I haven't seen any DIY options for altering the internal drive.
Or DIY.
Or DIY, excuse me. Excuse me, what am I thinking
say
of? But anyway, 500 gigs of storage internally, which I don't know what that works out to in hours of HD, but it's better than
Fewer
most.
than you want.
Yeah, you always want more. For a big family, it might be a problem. It offers 1080p output, 1080p 24 and 1080p 30 to be specific, but it doesn't have a native mode. So if you're using some kind of external processor device and you want that to handle it, I don't know. I kind of like the native modes. Now the Moxi Mate, on the other hand, $299, I believe, the $299 price, and that extends the functionality of the main DVR into, say, a bedroom or a secondary bed or another room.
It's basically like one of those media center extenders that were sort of out on the market and faded away. Only this one only works with the Moxi mothership, right?
Totally. And on the same network I had these connected to, and it was able to provide any of the recorded content that I had on the DVR. I could stream right to this box, as well as if one of the 3 tuners on the main DVR is not in use, you can then stream a channel in live to that as well. Now, it's not as fast responding as you get directly using the DVR itself, because it is encoding it, sending it over your Ethernet, and bringing it right to that little box for decode. But overall, it's a great extender product.
I thought it was interesting that it had like USB 2.0 inputs and a SATA input, external SATA input.
They claim for any of these products you can connect up to 6.5 terabytes of external storage. So between the USB ports, the SATA ports, you should be okay. Now, when I had like all 3 tuners buzzing away on the DVR, recording 3 separate shows at once, I went and looked at what the performance was with the Moxi Mate. It did get a little sluggish. Now, especially when I was trying to access functionality like going through long menus or anything I had to scroll through, it would bog it down a little bit if I'm trying to access data directly off the DVR.
You think that's a CPU issue? You think it's like an IO issue or
it could have been. Well,
it
was all on a gigabit network, so I don't think the network was an issue. I think it was more about
getting it off the. I guess I'm wondering, like, do you think they need a more powerful processor or a faster hard drive internally?
I'd have to spend some more time to really narrow it down to where the issue was. I will say, though, that if you do have a free tuner available on the DVR, it was pretty nice to be able to stream live TV channels as well. However, I'm a big fan of grid view. When you look at a channel listing on any on either your DVR or however, you normally get either get a list view that's a long list you can scroll through. I prefer a grid view that shows you like a couple hours out and you can see what's coming up.
Maybe a half dozen channels that are near each other.
Totally. The primary DVR gives you the option to switch back and forth between both views.
Okay.
The Moxi Mate doesn't. It only gives you the long, stringy list view, which, you know, once you're in the, it isn't a big deal once you figure out where your favorite channels are, or if you just want to grab shows that are on this DVR.
Could you create like a list of your favorite channels, like, you know, if the kids have one of these and there's one in the, you know what I mean? Could you set up like favorite channels to maybe narrow that list down?
Oh, totally. And you also have the full parental control options as well with both products. The other thing that's really nice about the DVR
Cinemax
itself,
for you, little Bobby.
Exactly. But if you're a sports fan or categories fans, there's actually built right into the menu is a nice listing that when you do have it connected to your cable system, you go to the sports icon, boom, it shows you everything that's currently on and coming up for anything related to sports.
Cool.
And they do have a separate one for movies as well. So whether it's recorded on your DVR or it's on live TV, it made it really easy to get that kind of content right to your eyeballs.
Wow. So we should touch on one other device. It's a follow-up to one you've reviewed in the past.
Oh, yes.
Popcorn Hours A200, which is basically, would you qualify it as sort of the shrunken version of the C200?
Cost effective is what I think they were going for. Let's get the cost down as low as possible. That's really what they're looking for. The difference between the A model and the C model.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what are we talking about here? It's smaller.
Smaller. It's a
2.5 inch or 3.5 inch hard drive inside now?
You can put either one. I believe there's space for either, but you got to crack the case open in order to do that. Unlike the C model, which allowed you basically had that nice external, not external, but the removable drive bay that you can put a SATA drive in and out. It has, the A200 has fewer SATA and USB ports than kind of, you know, paring the size of this thing down a little bit. There's no front display. They also did away with the Blu-ray drive support. So if you're looking for Blu-ray playback using an external drive,
you need the C200, not the A200.
Exactly, exactly. And price-wise, though, $180 or $200 if you want the Wi-Fi adapter. Compare that to the C200, that was $300 or $311 with the Wi-Fi adapter.
That's a pretty healthy price.
But otherwise, functionality identical. Same internal processors, chipsets, and everything. So whatever functionality you had, aside from what we talked about earlier, with the C200, you can get that with the A200 in just a smaller form factor.
And we are keeping our eyes open for Ciabas's next product, which is a more sort of less hardcore enthusiast, more general purpose, sort of general consumer product, which is the Pop Box, and we will get our hands on that as soon as they will spare one for us.